Yep, we got sound. Thank you for joining us this evening for junior high volleyball action. We have the Hillsborough Tigers versus the Brookwood Falcons. At this time, the Falcons are currently leading 4-0, and we'll make that 5-0. On the floor for the Tigers. We have a substitution for Brookwood now. Looks like Ava Gruen is entering the game for Evelyn Gibson. I believe Molly Hanson serving for Brookwood, I believe. If she finally serves one in the net, gives Hillsborough the easy point. So Hillsborough's on the board, trails 1-6. Entering the game for Hillsborough is Hayden Bond for Elizabeth Carnes. Serving for Hillsborough, Sydney Hemmersbach. And Hemmersbach's serve goes into the net. A side out for the Falcons as they gain another point, lead 7-1. Entering the game for the Falcons, I believe it's Marissa Brigham. She's in for Evelyn Gibson. It's miscommunications on Tigers' part. And Brookwood, Brookwood takes an 8-1 lead. I think Marissa Brigham serving. Correction on that. Serving for Brookwood is, I don't have her in my program, number 23. And her serve goes under the net, be a point for Hillsborough. And we have a substitution for Hillsborough. Entering the game for Kaylee Anderson is Reagan Stanek. And I believe Lauren Worrell in the game for Elena Clark. So the Tigers finally score their first offensive point on their own. Close the gap 3-9. Up until now, Brookwood scored points for both sides. Served by Reagan Stanek, and she gets 2 in a row for the Tigers. Tigers trail 4-9. Stanek to serve for the Tigers. Brookwood with the volley, and a kill. Brookwood kill by Reagan Mullenkamp. Puts the Falcons ahead 10-4. Substitution for Brookwood. In for Fenigo. And serving for Brookwood is number 5, Sophia Hyatt. Hyatt serve clears the net. Warrior bump to Clark and to the floor. It'll be a Falcon point, and the Falcons now lead 11-4. In this first set, 7th grade action. A high floating Hyatt serve into the net for a Hillsborough point. Hillsborough trails 5-11. Serving for Hillsborough, Lauren Worrell. Worrell clears the net. It'll be a point for Hillsborough.
Sorry about the camera. Guys, our tripod is broke, so we have a makeshift tripod, and it's really hard to span back and forth. So we're kind of stuck in this situation, and I can't run home and get a different tripod. So bear with us. We're a little rusty.
So Brookwood leads 12-5.
It's been a while.
That's a line fault violation. Be a point for Hillsboro. Entering the game. I believe Evelyn Gibson entering the game for Brookwood. For Hillsboro, Elizabeth Carnes will enter the game and serve for Hillsboro. Carnes to serve, and she's going to ace the serve and score a point for Hillsboro. Hillsboro now trails 7-12. And Carnes will get herself ready to serve again. And she serves into the net. Looks like Brighamman serving for Brookwood, and she's going to serve up an ace for Brookwood. And Brookwood now leads 14-7 here in set number 1. Brighamman high floater. Royal digs it out. And the ball ends up out of bounds off of Carnes' hands. Brookwood will lead 15-7. Brighamman to serve for the Falcons. Hillsboro gets a volley by Warrior. Get it pushed across by Carnes. Carnes sets it up. Warrior puts it across, and it's going to fall in for a Hillsboro point. So Hillsboro using a little teamwork, and we got more substitutions. And Griffiths in the game to serve for Hillsboro. Griffiths high floater comes up just a bit short. It'll be a point for the Falcons, as the Falcons now lead 16-8. Entering the game for Brookwood's going to be Jennifer Fenico, and if I destroyed the name, I apologize. Serving for the Falcons and scoring a point is Reagan Mullenkamp. Mullenkamp's going to get set to serve again for the Falcons, leading 17-8. Mullenkamp serve. Nice powerful serve for a 7th grader. And too hot for anybody to handle on this end. Be 18-8. Falcons lead. Mullenkamp with an ace for Brookwood, looking impressive back there for a 7th grader. We're going to have a timeout, I believe, called by Hillsboro. That'll be their first timeout. Hillsboro's roster, we have Kylie Anderson, Rayleigh Anderson, Hayden Bond, Elizabeth Carnes, Elena Clark, Kiana Griffiths, Sydney Hemmersbach, Reagan Stanek, and Lauren Woyerl.
Is that 8?
9. For Brookwood, we have Reagan Mullenkamp, Sophia Wyatt, Molly Hanson, Boy, look at those names right there. Mullenkamp, Hyatt, Hansen. I think they brought their varsity squad over here. Fanico, Gruen, Brigaman, Gibson, Tiemann, and Norman. When the timeout's over, the teams return to the court. Brookwood leading 19-8. And serving the ball, I believe, is Reagan Mullenkamp. Mullenkamp with another solid serve, dug out by Woyerl. Volleyed over by Sidney Hemmersbach. And Griffiths and Carnes get their wires crossed, and it ends up to be a Brookwood point. Brookwood leading 20-8. Mullenkamp serve to Hillsborough, and it's going to drop in 21-8. As the Hillsborough fans are getting unruly. Going to be a substitution for Brookwood. In for Evelyn Gibson is number 11, Ava Gruen. Mullenkamp with the serve, and she finally ducks one underneath the net for Hillsborough point. Hillsborough trails 9-21 as Elena Clark's going to serve for Hillsborough and try to bring them back into this thing. Clark serve, a solid one into the middle. Brookwood volleys across. Griffiths digs it out. Woyerl sets it up. And not enough by Carnes as they're going to get called for 4 hits and a Brookwood point. Brookwood now leads 22-9. And the serve for Brookwood goes out of bounds, scores Hillsborough point. Hillsborough trails 10-22. Serving for the Tigers is Sidney Hemmersbach. In the game for Hillsborough, Hayden Bond. As Carnes will take a seat. Hemmersbach serves, comes up just a bit short. It'll be a Brookwood point. We have a substitution for Brookwood entering the game. Sophia Wyatt. And it looks like Hyatt, Sophia Hyatt. And her serve is a nice strong one. Dug out by Hayden Bond, but not enough to get over the net. And Sophia Hyatt gets set to serve the game point for Brookwood. And she serves it into the net, so it won't be on this round as Hillsborough now trails 11-24. A substitution for Hillsborough coming into the game. Reagan Stanek. And Rayleigh Anderson in the game for Hillsborough. Stanek to serve. Serve clears the net. Brookwood volleys. Anderson got it across. Dug out by Clark. And it's going to fall to the ground for Hillsborough point. Hillsborough now trails 12-24. Stanek will get set to do it again. Stanek with the serve. Clears the net. Mullenkamp returned it. It's going to go off Stanek and out of bounds. That will be the end of set number 1 as Brookwood wins 25-12. Take a couple minutes in between sets here as we get set for set number 2 of 7th grade action. Thank some of our sponsors. Huffmester Insurance Agency for all your auto, home, business, and life insurance needs. Please see Huffmester's Insurance. The Metco team, they're now hiring, coming into their spring season. If you're looking for a job, join the Metco team, and we thank them for supporting Hillsborough Athletics. Coming to Hillsborough in 2021. Here in just a month or two, Mr. B Smokehouse Meats. And we'd like to thank the Peterson Pharmacy for their continued support of Hillsboro Athletics. Hillsboro Equipment for all your lawn care or farm needs. Stop down and get your stuff fixed up by Hillsboro Equipment. Rudy Jensen, Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, Ford, Ram. They've got them all over there. If you need a new vehicle, stop by and see our fine friends at Rudy Jensen in New Lisbon. I know Jill stopped to see him just a couple weeks ago, and she's driving a set of wheels now. Clark Power Sports for all your ATV, UTV, and trailer needs. Stop down and see Clark's Power Sports downtown in Hillsboro. I'd like to welcome the 4 people joining me watching the broadcast. I'll try not to destroy the names and get them as close as I can. 7th grade volleyball action right now. Oh, we got another viewer. I'd like to welcome the 4 people joining me watching the broadcast. So serving for Hillsboro, starting set number 2, will be Sydney Hemmersbach. Hemmersbach serve clears for an ace. So Hillsboro will take their first lead of this match, 1-0. Hemmersbach with her second serve clears the net and handcuffs her. That's going to be 2 aces in a row for Hemmersbach. Hillsboro out to a quick 2-0 lead. Hemmersbach with serve number 3. Clears the net high floater. It is going to be returned. Returned back by Kylie Anderson and out of bounds. Be point number 3 for Hillsboro as they take a 3-0 lead. Hemmersbach getting ready to serve number 4 for Hemmersbach. Hemmersbach high floater just a bit short. And Brookwood's on the board as Hillsboro leads 3-1. Substitution into the game. Fenigo is going to come in for Hyatt. Serving is Mullenkamp. Mullenkamp with a strong serve to the back row. And Warrior being a one-person show up front. 3 returns and finally gets a kill. And Hillsboro jumps out to a 4-1 lead. In the game for Hillsboro now, checking in. For Kylie Anderson be Reagan Stanek, who's going to serve. And for Kiana Griffiths, into the front row is Rayleigh Anderson. Stanek serve, clears the net, and it's going to hit the floor for an ace. So Hillsboro with 5-1 lead now, and 3 quick aces between Stanek and Hemmersbach. Stanek with serve number 2. Just a bit short into the net. So Hillsboro scored every point in this game so far, in this set, both for themselves and for Brookwood, as Hillsboro leads 5-2. Serving is Fenigo. Just gets over. It's returned by Anderson. And Hayden Bond's going to get a kill for Hillsboro, puts Hillsboro up 6-2. Same players for both teams, but it appears that Hillsborough got fired between games. Checking in the game, Ava Gruen. She's going to come in for Evelyn Gibson. Gruen will take a spot in the back row on defense. Serving for Hillsborough, Lauren Boyle. And they can't quite get the volley. It'll be a Brookwood point, and Brookwood trails 3-6. It's serving for Brookwood. Leaving the game is Tamara Norman. Coming into the game, I think it's Ellie Tiemann who is going to do the serving for Brookwood. Tiemann serve clears the net. Returned by Hemmersbach. The ball's going to go under the net on the second volley and be a Brookwood point. Brookwood now trails 4-6. Tiemann gets ready to serve for the Falcons. Tiemann serve just into the top of the net, a little short. And Hillsborough will be serving with a 7-4 lead as a substitution for Hillsborough. Elizabeth Carnes will be coming in for Hayden Bond. And Carnes will be serving for Hillsborough. Carnes with the serve under the net. It's got to go over the net. So it'll be a point for Brookwood. Brookwood trails 7-5 in the game for Brookwood. I believe is Hyatt. And Hyatt will be serving for the Falcons. Hyatt serves just a bit short under the net. Be a Hillsborough point. Hillsborough now leads 8-5, and we're going to have a double substitution for Hillsborough. Yes. Number 10, Kylie Anderson comes in, and Kiana Griffiths comes in. Griffiths will be serving for Hillsborough, leading 8-5. Griffiths serve, little errant, be a Brookwood point. Serving for Brookwood, Ava Gruen, trailing 6-8. Gruen serves just a bit short. And it appears to be Elena Clark will be serving for Hillsborough, leading 9-6. In the game for Brookwood, might be Marissa Brigham. Hard to see the numbers from up here. Maybe it's Evelyn Gibson. It's Evelyn Gibson in the game for Brookwood. Clark's going to serve up an ace and go to serve number 2 with a 10-6 lead for the Tigers. Clark's second serve clears the net way back, and another ace for Clark. That's 2 in a row. And Clark's serves are too hot to handle tonight. She gets set for serve number 3, leading 11-6. Clark with a strong serve to the back row and another ace. That's 3 aces in a row for Elena Clark. And we're going to have a timeout called by Brookwood. Brookwood's first timeout. As assistant coach Grace Holte is turning the bench into cheerleaders, I believe. I'd like to thank Peterson Pharmacy for their support of Hillsborough Athletics, and also Hillsborough Equipment for their support of Hillsborough Athletics. Rudig Jensen in New Lisbon and Abra Auto Body and Glass. Thank you for your support of Hillsborough Athletics. If you're interested in a mug, a tumbler from the Tiger Booster Club, please see Jill. She's got some tumblers for sale, $10 a piece, or the package price of 2 for $20, I believe. I got Jill over here rolling eyes at me. Thank you to Clark Power Sports. And we're ready to start the game. Jill, you're still on advertising. Elena Clark's going to serve, and that's going to go out of bounds. I'm sorry you missed that.
I didn't.
Oh, all right. So that puts the end to Hillsborough's run. Is there going to be a substitution for Brookwood in the game for Ellie Tiemann? It's going to be Tamara Norman Serving is Marissa Brigham for Brookwood. Serve goes under the net, and the ball will return to Hillsboro. Hillsboro leads 13-7. Substitution for Hillsboro, Hayden Bond entering the game for Elizabeth Carnes. Serving for Hillsboro, Sydney Hemmersbach, who started out this set with a fine run of her own. Hemmersbach set to serve. Hemmersbach, a high floater. And it looks like it's going to be returned, and it is into no man's land, as Mullenkamp will get the kill and go to the back row to serve. So Reagan Mullenkamp to serve for the Falcons, trailing 8-13 in the game. Jennifer Fenico for the Falcons. Hillsboro gets their wires crossed on the volley as three of them run together. Brookwood will score the point. 9-13 Brookwood trails. Mullenkamp with the serve for the Falcons. Mullenkamp's strong serve to the back row, returned by Clark. Not quite enough for Kylie Anderson to set it up. Brookwood will score another point, 10-13. Mullenkamp, third serve, strong to the back row. And Hillsboro can't get it volleyed across. Mullenkamp bringing Brookwood back into this thing, as now Brookwood trails only by 2, 11-13. Mullenkamp with a strong serve. And it's going to be returned by Lauren Boyer for a kill for Hillsboro to end that run by Mullenkamp. So Boyer with a kill. We got substitutions for Hillsboro. Stanek is in for Kylie Anderson. In for Griffiths will be Rayleigh Anderson. Stanek with a serve, a high floater across the net. It is returned, and Hillsboro can't handle it. Be a point for Brookwood. Hillsboro leads 14-12. And Molly Hansen will serve for Brookwood. In the game for Brookwood, Ava Gruen, who will report to the front row for Brookwood, as it appears to be the setter. Anderson, the Warrior to Anderson, but a little bit too much on the far side. Brookwood will score the point. Trails only by 1, 13-14. With Hansen serving for Brookwood. Hansen serve, floats across the net. Anderson digs it out. They get the volley, and it's too hot to handle by the volley by Hayden Bond. Hillsboro will take the 2-point lead, 15-13. Lauren Wyerl to serve for Hillsboro. Wyerl serve, a strong serve to Brookwood. It is returned and out of bounds. Hillsboro will score a point. 16-13, Hillsboro leads. Lauren Wyerl will serve again. Strong serve by Wyerl. It is returned. Anderson, it's hit to Anderson, can't be dug out by Wyerl in the back row. Brookwood will score a point. Substitution for Brookwood. In for Norman. And will be serving is I believe it's Ellie Tiemann. Tiemann serve will not quite make it into the back of Fenigo. Hillsboro will score a point, leads 17-14. In the game for Hillsboro, Elizabeth Carnes. She'll come in for Hayden Bond and serve for Hillsboro. Carnes' serve over the net. Going to be returned. And Hillsboro can't run it down. Brookwood will score a point. Brookwood trails by 2, 15-17. And we have a substitution. I believe Sophia Hyatt serving for the Falcons. Hyatt's high serve off the top of the net, makes it across. And Mullenkamp's going to get a kill for Brookwood, brings them within 1, trailing 16-17. Hyatt to serve for Brookwood. Hyatt serve floater just a bit short. It was caught by Marissa Brigham in front of the net. Hillsborough leads by 2. And substitution, we got Kiana Griffiths coming in for Rayleigh Anderson. And Kylie Anderson is going to come in, play the front row. Griffiths to serve for Hillsborough, leading by 2, 18-16. Griffiths serve, floats across the net. It's returned by Brookwood. Dug out by Hemmersbach, and a hit by Woyerl and out of bounds on somebody else. Needless to say, it's a Brookwood point in the game for Brookwood. Evelyn Gibson, and she will be serving for the Falcons, trailing by 1, 17-18. Gibson serve, not quite enough. Be a point for Hillsborough. They regain their 2-point lead, 19-17, and Elena Clark will be serving for the Tigers. Clark serves across the net. It's going to be returned by Brookwood, dug out by Clark in the back, and a swing and a miss by Kylie Anderson. It brings Brookwood within 1. Substitution for Brookwood, Tamara Norman is going to come in for Tiemann. Brookwood served by, having a hard time with numbers, Joe.
Which one?
The one serving.
13.
So Brigham gets an ace. Now she's going to serve one into the net. So she scores a point and gives up a point. Hillsborough lead is 1. Substitution for Hillsborough. In for Elizabeth Carnes, playing the front row is Hayden Bond. Sydney Hemmersbach to serve for Hillsborough, leading by 1, 20-19. Hemmersbach serve floats to the referee, and we've got a 20-20 ball game. Coming right down to the wire is Mullenkamp serving for the Falcons. In the game, Jennifer Fenigo playing the front row for the Falcons. Mullenkamp with a strong serve. Dug out by Clark, set up by Anderson. Now Anderson's going to dig it out. Woyerl's going to tip it and score. Woyerl with a kill for Hillsborough. And Hillsborough takes a 21-20 lead. Entering the game is Stanek and Rayleigh Anderson. Stanek will serve for Hillsborough, leading by 1, 21-20. Stanek with a floating serve, handcuffs the back row, and they do get the volley. Dug out by Clark, returned by Bond. And now too hot to handle by Mullenkamp, and Hillsborough will take a 2-point lead, running into the final stretch of this one. 22-20 Hillsborough leads. Stanek with the serve. Stanek with a strong serve over the net is returned. And Hillsborough gets a kill by Hayden Bond. Hillsborough now with a 3-point lead, 23-20. Stanek with the serve. Stanek floats one across, and it's too hot to handle as it's off the hands of Fenigo out of bounds, and Stanek will be serving game point for Hillsborough here in set number 2. Stanek with a strong serve. It is returned. Dug out by Clark. Tipped over by Bond. That was dug out by Anderson. Woyerl tips it back. Volley back across. And Bond with the game-winning kill. So Hillsborough's going to take set number 2, 25-20. To even this match. So Hillsborough, Brookwood winning set number 1, 25-12. And Hillsborough winning set number 2, 25-20. as we get ready to play set number 3.
I want to apologize for the camera. Our tripod broke. I'm missing a piece on it, so we had to improvise with the camera. So the camera cannot span back and forth for you to get the whole court. And with that, I don't have a tripod for the scoreboard. So needless to say, we are a little rusty and I didn't get up here in time after work. So you are just going to have to see 3/4 of the court and kind of half of the scoreboard. You'll have to listen to Bob for the score. But I appreciate your patience.
So we get ready for set number 3 of this 7th grade matchup between the Hillsboro Tigers and the Brookwood Falcons. Mullenkamp will be serving for the Falcons to start out this set. Mullenkamp with a strong serve to the back row, returned by Clark. And Hillsboro's going to get called for 4 hits. And the Falcons are on the board first, leading 1-0. Mullenkamp with a second strong serve. Clark fields it in the back row, not to anyone in particular, and Brookwood goes up 2-0. Mullenkamp working fast. Pick on the back row again off Hemmersbach's hands and Clark. And Brookwood out to a fast 3-0 lead as Mullenkamp working fast for the Falcons. Mullenkamp does Hillsboro a favor, scores a point for the Tigers as she hits one into the net. And into the game for Hillsboro, Hayden Bond for Elizabeth Carnes in the front row. Hemmersbach serving for Hillsboro. And Hemmersbach hits one too hot to handle. Hillsboro now only trails by 1, 2-3. Hemmersbach's not quite far enough to return the point to Brookwood. In the game for Brookwood is Ava Gruen for Evelyn Gibson. Serving for Brookwood, I don't know who it is. Hillsboro with a miraculous volley there. And Hillsboro's going to score the point. Long hair and numbers on the back do not bode well for trying to figure out who's on the floor. Oh, the one on the far side with the long hair. Serving for Hillsboro into the game is Stanek. Rayleigh Anderson also in the game for Hillsborough. Stanek floats one across. It's returned by Brookwood. Stanek digs it out of the back row, and miscommunication between Hemmersbach and Bond. It falls to the floor. Be a point for Brookwood. Into the game for Brookwood. It'll be Ellie Tiemann for Tamara Norman. Tiemann will serve for the Falcons, leading 5-3. Tiemann floats one across. Lauren Woyerl with a return and too hot to handle. Hillsborough scores a point, only trails by one, as Woyerl will come to serve for the Tigers, trailing 4-5 here in set number 3.
I think it's set.
Warriors serve, made it across, they had a volley, and Rayleigh Anderson's going to get credit for a kill. She hit the far sideline. Warrior will serve to the back row. Gets them handcuffed and will, after 2 hits, score another point. Hillsborough takes a 2-point lead now, and Brookwood's going to use a timeout. So Brookwood uses their first timeout as Hillsborough leads 7-5. So leading 7-5, both Hillsborough's Warrior will get ready to serve. Strong serve to the back row of Brookwood. Brookwood gets the volley. It's dug out by Anderson. Anderson digs it out again. Going to be knocked over by... Actually, Anderson knocked over. Warrior was knocking it over, or fielding it. Hillsborough scores a point, leads 8-5, and Warrior will be serving again. Warrior with a strong serve to the front row. Anderson's going to hit it over. Returned by Stanek, and nobody there but Floor to field that one, and Stanek will score a point. He scored as a kill. Coming in for Bond is Carnes, and Elizabeth Carnes will be serving for Hillsborough, leading 9-5. Carnes serve high floater. It's going to be fielded. Hillsborough's front row. It's going to go off Elena Clark and out of bounds. Score a Brookwood point. And substitution for Brookwood. I believe it's Sophia Hyatt in for Brookwood to serve, trailing 6-9. Hyatt serve into the net. Score a point for Hillsborough. And a substitution for Hillsborough as Kylie Anderson will enter the game for Stanek. And Kiana Griffiths in the game for Rayleigh Anderson. Griffiths to serve for Hillsborough, leading 10-6. Griffiths serve floats over the net. Fielded by Brookwood and returned. Hemmersbach digs it out. Gets knocked over by Elizabeth Carnes with a kill. Hillsborough leads 11-6. Griffiths to serve for Hillsborough. Griffiths floats one across. Fielded back by Carnes. And miscommunication. Griffiths did not get there to dig it out. Give up a point. Brookwood trails 7-11. A substitution for Brookwood. Ava Gruen taking a seat, and I believe Evelyn Gibson in the game, and Gibson will be serving for the Falcons, trailing 7-11. Gibson floats one across. It's going to get called on Kylie Anderson for 2 hits, and so it'll be a Brookwood point. Brookwood now trails 8-11, with Hyatt serving for the Falcons. Hyatt serve makes it across, fielded by Hemmersbach, can't be dug out by Clark. Ball hits the floor, point Falcons. Falcons now trail 9-11, and Hyatt on a run of her own for the Falcons. Hyatt will serve off the top of the net. Hillsborough can't handle it, go for an ace. And Hillsborough's going to use a timeout. Sophia Hyatt throws up an ace. Brookwood only trails by 1 now, 10-11. As Hillsborough's forced to call a timeout. Both teams with 1 timeout remaining. Both teams come out on the floor. Brookwood trailing 10-11 here in set number 3. Hyatt serving for Brookwood. Excuse me, Hyatt did not serve that one for Brookwood. That was, I think, Ava Gruen. Could have been Evelyn Gibson. Lena Clark serving for Hillsborough. Strong serve to the back row. Dug out by Brookwood, and Brookwood cannot return it. Hillsborough takes a 13-10 lead. Elena Clark serving for Hillsborough. Clark serve clears the net to the back row. A high return, and Brigham cannot get it over the net. Another point for Hillsborough. Hillsborough leads 14-10. Clark ready to serve for the Tigers. Clark serve over the net to the back row. A high return. Hillsborough, 3 defenders get their wires crossed again as the ball hits the floor. Brookwood point. We'll have some substitutions into the game for Brookwood. Looks like Tamara Norman coming in for Ellie Tiemann. Now they're saying, no, we're going to do something else. Hyatt is checking out of the game, and number 9, Fenigo, comes into the back row. Norman to the front row. Brigham serving for Brookwood. Brigham serve a bit short. Hillsborough will take a 16-11 lead. And timeout, I believe, Brookwood. Oh, I guess we only played a 15. So Hillsborough's going to win the match. Brookwood wins game or set number 1, 25-12. Hillsborough's going to win set number 2, 25-20. And Hillsborough will win set number 3, 15-11, to win the game. So the Hillsborough 7th grade will defeat the Brookwood 7th grade 2-1. So congratulations to the 7th grade Lady Tigers as the 8th graders now take the floor. I'm going to try to go down to the scorers table and wrestle some lineups for this 8th grade game. And we'll turn it over to Jill to enlighten you with what is up and coming.
Alright, thanks for joining us. We're a little rusty. We don't have some of the equipment, so our tripod we're unable to use the tripod. So our camera is fixed. Can't span back and forth. Can't move it. If I do, I'll make you guys all dizzy with it all wiggling all over. So anyway, you don't need to hear my problems. Just letting you know why I have a fixed camera and cannot move it. My tripod is broken. Hopefully we'll have that fixed by the next time. Thanks for joining us. If you have not already subscribed to our channel, please click subscribe. Doesn't cost you anything. Helps out the school that you're watching. YouTube unlocks some features for us. Those that have already subscribed, thank you very much. We'd like to thank some sponsors. Get this up and rolling. If you'd like to become a sponsor or you'd like to donate, I have a bunch that has contacted me since basketball season has ended, that we have to get some ads up and rolling. And I appreciate every single one of those people and businesses that have contacted me. It can be a business, it can be a family, it can be in honor of, in memory of, it can be a youth group, an adult group, a farm. A, it could be anything. I don't care who you are. I like all of you guys. I appreciate all the help. I appreciate any and all. I'm still trying to get some setups and some more equipment purchased to be able to stream baseball and softball. We will be split, so I need equipment at both locations. I'm still trying to figure out how I'm going to handle that because I can only stream one stream on YouTube at a time. I can't stream 2 games at the same time, so there was talk about making another YouTube channel for secondary games or just streaming it live to my Facebook page. If anybody has any suggestions on how I can accomplish that, because there are baseball, softball games on the same day. And I'm gonna have to work some angles and get a couple cameras set up for each. So if anyone has any good techno people out there have any advice, text me, email me. I like advice. I am old, learning all this technology, so I like all kinds of wisdom. Contact me if you'd like to donate any money or get an ad going. Any $500 donations we will run for the rest of the year, and any $1,000 donations or more we will run for a whole year. So this time next year your ads will run. So I will not bother you for another donation until a year from the day that you donate. So if you donated 1,000, I will run for a year. If you donated 500, it's just been a really weird year, and it's hard for me to set a certain amount because we got weird sports. These guys, the junior high girls, were supposed to play in the fall, didn't. Um, so, and football, junior high football will be starting soon. So we'll have coverage of that. It's hard to set a price. So this is what I'm going to do. $500 donations will run for the rest of the year. And I, I can't think of anything that we would do this summer, but if we did live stream something this summer, I will run your ad for that also. But any $1,000 donations, It will begin now and it will end next year at this time. So you will be covered through baseball, softball season, and any more junior high events this year, and then through football and volleyball next year, and basketball and wrestling for next year. So I've been trying to get some more emails sent out to some more businesses. Um, Again, we appreciate any and all. And we are selling tumblers, as you saw just flash across the screen. I'm trying to watch the girls and talk at the same time, which doesn't always work. Tumblers are hot and cold. Um, we've tested a bunch of them at our warehouse, at my business, and they are really good quality tumblers. $10 each. They're matte black with an etched um, white tiger. No words, just a tiger. And they're $10 a piece. All the money goes towards the Booster Club. We have not had any fundraisers this year. This is our only fundraiser is advertising. Um, we have not had. I think coaches are frustrated and um, a lot of questions going on with coaches as far as who can play, when they can play, do they have to wear a mask, any fans, no fans, yes fans, how close can the fans be? So I think they've been concentrating on just getting playtime. So we haven't had a lot of requests from coaches for donations or for funds. And that is what the Booster Club is for. We are for, um, we're for WIA sporting events, even though we are covering junior high. And as you've been seeing, you've been catching some elementary boys basketball. It's just been a strange year, so it's just a good thing to live stream. Get all your parents covered. What we do and what we're for is pretty much so kids don't have to pay to play. With schools budgeting and stuff like that, sometimes these teams need equipment. It's stuff to help from year to year to year. Equipment is the main uh, purchasing that we do. We've purchased a camera for the football team, traveling gear for teams, basketballs, volleyballs, uh, the side basketball hoops we have purchased here in the gym. We've purchased signs out on the football field, um, some of the electrical that goes into the new signs for the football, baseball fields, helmets, bats, um, you name it. We've had some singlets. We did the singlets for the wrestling team a couple years ago. We have donated and funded over $30,000 since we've started in 2015 to the school. We have raised and purchased that much stuff for the school. The list is endless. If you would like a list or some more information about the Booster Club, please text me or email me, and I can get you a whole list of everything we've purchased for these teams, these student athletes. Again, we are here for the student athletes so they don't have to pay to play and um, try and provide coverage for the events to go on in future years. So that is where the money goes, except for a little bit of equipment that we've had to purchase. The rest of it is just my equipment. Just part of being in having your children in sports and being in a small town and um, volunteering your time. That's part of it. If you have kids in sports, you have kids in Girl Scouts or Boys and Boy Scouts, and you just, youth sports and weekend sports, and you just have to volunteer your time as a parent, and so that is why we do this. I have family that are not in the state currently, and families have been able to watch their grandchildren, their nieces, their nephews, um, and it's been a great way, even for the opposing team, they have been able to watch, and that is why we do it. Again, if you have any questions on why, what, when, where, who we are, what we stand for, please shoot me an email or a text message. Got any great wisdom, Almighty Bob?
I have no wisdom.
You're not on. Just turn it off and on. Technology doesn't always like to work.
I have no wisdom.
You don't have any wisdom. How many
all-
robins have you
I've
seen?
watched 2 decades of volleyball as my daughter was growing up. I think she played volleyball from the ages of 4 until she was graduated college at the age of 22 or 20, 21 or 22, and I still don't understand the game totally, so bear with me.
It is quite the difference starting at elementary volleyball. Our daughter played college volleyball, so watching the different levels is quite
And
quite a change.
and now junior high volleyball I'm watching, and with the line violations and stuff, they're kind of overlooked now. Not saying back then was better, but there are no line judges, and it's for the kids. Make the kids better. And we've seen some pretty good ones at the 7th grade level as we get set for the 8th grade level, as the Brookwood Falcons are taking the floor. Hillsborough still in their huddle.
Huddle, 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 huddle.
I see Rosemary Hegland on the floor for Brookwood. I see Emily O'Rourke. Deanna Wallace. They're in the front row. I see Fernanda Garcia Barr. These girls are shy about showing their numbers. Anyway, serving
Those
for Brookwood.
Ponytails get in the way, and then the numbers
Serving
are.
for Brookwood, I think it's Emily Kunitz serving for Brookwood to start set number 1 off here at the 8th grade level. It's dug out by Liska. Harritz gets it to Erickson. Erickson over. Downing and Erickson put it over again. Harris went for the dig, does not dig it out, and Brookwood jumps to an early 1-0 lead. As it is Emily Kunitz serving for Brookwood, leading 1-0. Ball's dug out in the back by Liska to Harritz to Erickson, and Erickson's going to get credit for a kill. The Hillsborough evens the score at 1 apiece. Serving for Hillsborough, Kiana Liska. A strong serve to the back row. And they're going to call a carry on Carmen Erickson as they were struggling with the net. Be a point Brookwood. Boy, Liska's got a strong serve. If her sister could only learn to serve like that.
I know. Malia, you gotta take some pointers from the little sister.
So Harris is going to return the Brookwood serve. Brookwood returns it. Erickson returns it over again. Wallace with the return. Now Erickson returns it back. Kunitz gets it over for Brookwood, dug out by Liska to Downing. And the ball's going to go out of bounds. I didn't catch who was going. Boy, this 8th grade action's moving too fast for me. I don't know. Anyway, Brookwood scores a point, leads 3-1. Serving for Brookwood.
Means you're getting old.
Deanna Wallace. Dug out by Stalky. Harrods could not handle it over in the corner. It'd be a point for Brookwood. Brookwood leads 4-1. I believe it's Wallace serving for Brookwood. Goes to the far corner. Harrods digs it out into the net. Hillsborough having trouble with the net right now. Early on in set number 1. Brookwood leads 5-1. Wallace with the serve. Wallace high floater over the net. Going to be dug out by Stalky twice. Returned over the net by Liska. Kunitz volleys it over. Dug out by Downing. Erickson gets it over for Hillsborough. And Kunitz puts it over again. Jules Johnson got kind of handcuffed, and it went off of Alexis Downing out of bounds. Be a Brookwood point. Time for some instruction. And we have a substitution for Brookwood. Leaving the game is Emma Elder. Into the game is, I believe, Callista Zimmerman came into the game. Jules Johnson dug it out. I believe Harrods maybe got it over for the kill. Hillsborough trails 2-6. Erickson serving for Hillsborough. In the game for Brookwood, Ruby Mullenkamp. Erickson serve off the side, a little short. Be a point for Brookwood. Brookwood leads 7-2. Into the game and serving for Brookwood. I'm struggling. I think it's Caitlin Lee, if that's number 1. Yes, it is. Lee serve over. It's dug out by Downing. Liska to Harrods. Harrods gets it over. Going to be returned by Brookwood. Dug out by Harrods. Stalky and Liska get tangled up, and the ball goes out of bounds. Be a point for Brookwood. Caitlin Lee to serve for the Falcons, leading 8-2 here in set number 1 of 8th grade action. Erickson digs it out of the back row. It's tipped over by Stalky. And Brookwood gets it over. Hillsborough a little flat-footed on defense. Now trails 2-9. And Caitlin Lee, and Hillsborough's going to call a timeout. So Hillsborough's going to use a timeout here. Trailing 2-9. Hillsborough's been having trouble up close to the net early on in set number 1 of this 3-game matchup. I think I got that right. So again, Caitlin Lee serving for Brookwood, leading 9-2. Lee serve over the net, dug out by Downing. Liska passed it to the back row, and it hits the floor. Another score for Brookwood. Brookwood leading 10-2 with Lee serving. Downing digs it out. Liska gets it over the net. Liska digs out the return. Downing tips it over. It will be returned by Kunitz. Erickson digs it out of the back row. Set by Liska. And a hit by Harris. And Harris is going to get credited for a kill. As Hillsboro now trails 3-10. And Lexi Downing will be serving for Hillsboro. Lexi's going to come up a bit short. Be a point for the Falcons. Serving for the Falcons. I think it's Catherine McElhose. She floats one over, dug out by Downing. It's going to be dumped over by Jules Johnson and returned, I think, by Kunitz into no man's land for a point. Brookwood now leads 12-3. McElhouse's serve over, volleyed by Hillsboro. Hertz gets it to Jules Johnson, and they can't quite handle it. Point Brookwood. Brookwood now with a 10-point lead, leading 13-3. What's the number of the server, Joe?
20. 24.
It is, in fact, Catherine McElhouse. Ball's volleyed over by Stalky for Hillsboro. Kunitz gets it out, dug out by Downing, and a valiant effort between Downing, Liska, and Erickson, but the ball goes out of bounds nonetheless, and it's a 14-3 lead. McElhouse set to serve again for the Falcons. McElhouse serve dug out by Erickson, set by Liska, hit by Harris, and too hot to handle, and Harris will get credit for, well, it was fielded, so it's not a kill, but she got the volley over, and a point for Hillsboro. Hillsboro trails 4-14. In the game for Hillsboro, number 30, Josie Wells. Harris to serve for the Tigers. Harris serve clears the net. And the volley over, fielded by Erickson. And Stalky can't quite get the volley over the net. The score now 15-4. Substitutions for Brookwood in the game. In the game for Brookwood, Emily O'Rourke. Serving for Brookwood be Rosemary Hegland. 55. 55, Rosemary Hegland serves one into the net via Hillsboro.
It's 22.
That'd be Emma Elder. It's Emma Elder served one into the net. Stalky to serve for the Tigers. Stalky serve floats up and over. And the return can't be dug out by Downing. Another point for Brookwood. 16-5 Brookwood lead. And Kunitz is back to serve.
25.
Checking into the game, number 25. Well, Emily Kunitz is 25, back to serve.
55 checked in.
55, Rosemary Hegland now in the game in the front row. Kiana Liska tried to hit one over the net, and it went into the net. Be another Falcon point. 17-5, Falcon lead. Kunitz's serve into the net to give Hillsboro a point. So Hillsboro now trails 6-17. Back to serve for Hillsboro. In the game for Hillsboro is going to be Jules Johnson and Teresa Primo, I believe, checking into the game for Hillsboro. Jules Johnson back to serve for the Tigers, as Primo is checking into the game for Stalky. And Jules Johnson back to serve for the Tigers, trailing 6-17. And results in a Falcon point in the game for the Falcons. Number 24, Catherine McElhouse, serving for the Falcons. Number 21, Deanna Wallace. So now we're referees checking to make sure Hillsboro's rotation's right, everybody's in the right place. And after she moved them, now they all move back to where they were. So, like I said, I don't understand a lot about volleyball. So Deanna Wallace scores an ace for Brookwood. Brookwood now leads 19-6 here in set number 1, 8th grade action. Wallace's serve floats over the net, fielded by Liska over the net. Erickson over the net, set up by Brookwood, and Hillsboro's going to score a point. So Hillsboro now trails 7-19. As Kiana Liska will be set to serve for the Tigers. Liska serve. Hard serve to the back row, fielded and returned. Lexi Downing digs it out in midcourt and floats out of bounds. Brookwood scores. Brookwood leads 20-7. Checking into the game, I believe, is number 19, Callista Zimmerman. Zimmerman reports to the front row, serving for Brookwood. See if I can grab a number here in the celebration. Number 15, Emily O'Rourke. Brookwood scores a point. O'Rourke serving, leading 21-7. Emily O'Rourke serve across the net, dug out by Primo. Liska sets it up. Downing with a left-hand swing gets it over. Jules Johnson up in front to Downing, and Downing's going to put over, can't be returned. Hillsboro will score a point. Now trailing 8-21. And Carmen Erickson heading back to serve for Hillsboro. Substitution for Brookwood. As it looks like Ruby Mullenkamp is checking in for Emily O'Rourke. Mullenkamp will go to the back row. Erickson to serve for the Tigers, trailing 8-21. Carmen Erickson serve, floater over the net, going to be returned. Can't be dug out by the Tigers. And it's now 22-8 Falcon lead. Checking in for the Falcons and going to serve. Looks like number 1, Caitlin Lee. To serve for the Falcons, leading 22-8. Lee serve into the net. So Hillsboro will be serving, trailing 9-22. Checking into the game for the Tigers, Josie Wells in for Jules Johnson. Serving for Hillsboro is going to be Lexi Downing. Wells reports to the front row. Downing to serve for the Tigers, trailing 9-22. Downing serve into the net. Be a point for the Falcons. Falcons leading 23-9. Back to serve for the Falcons. I'm going to guess it's 21, Deanna Wallace again. Can't be 21. Grab me a number, Joe. Who is that? Get him in the celebration. Maybe it's 24. She don't want to turn around. It's 24. Catherine McElhouse. So she's to serve the game point for the Falcons, leading 24-9. This would be game point for the Falcons. She floats it across, dug out by Erickson to Liska. Pass to Harris. Harris floats one back. Kunitz pops it up. It's volleyed over by Brookwood. Downing to Erickson. Liska gets it over. We got some excitement. Kunitz returns it. Dug out by Liska. Wells to Liska. Not quite enough, and Brookwood will take set number 1, 25-9. So Brookwood took set 1, but if you remember 7th grade action, they also took set 1 25-12, and then Hillsboro went on to win the next 2. So it's not all out. Hillsboro will make some adjustments here in between games. And we'll move on to set number 2. But I always thought in volleyball, no matter what level they played, it was always important to win set number one. So hats off to Brookwood for their fine play of their 25-9 win in set number one. So as we get set for set number two volleyball action, on the floor for Hillsborough, I see Erickson, Jules Johnson, Lexi Downing, Caitlin Stalkey, Maddie Harritz, and Kiana Liska. So Liska ready to start set number two, serving for the Tigers. As we get our action underway, Liska serve fires across the net for an ace. So Hillsborough out to a quick 1-0 lead off the Liska ace. Liska fires on the back row, and it's going to be killed by Kunitz for Brookwood, and Brookwood even to score at one apiece. And Emily Kunitz will be serving for Brookwood. Kunitz's powerful serve to the back row, dug out by Hertz, or Stalkey rather, to Downing, and can't be handled by Erickson out of bounds. Brookwood will take a 2-1 lead. In the game for Brookwood, Rosemary Hegland reports to the front row. Kunitz's serve, powerful to the back row again, handcuffs Stalkey and out of bounds. So Brookwood will take a 3-1 lead, and Kunitz to serve for the Falcons. Hertz digs it out and puts it over the net. It cannot be handled by Fernanda Garcia Barr as it goes into the net. Hillsborough scores a point. And Carmen Erickson back to serve for the Tigers, trailing 2-3. Erickson's serve just a bit short. And checking into the game for Hillsborough is going to be Teresa Primo as she's coming in for Carmen Erickson. So serving for Brookwood will be Deanna Wallace as Primo checks into the back row. Deanna Wallace serving for Brookwood, leading 4-2. Also reporting to the front row for Brookwood is Catherine McElhouse. So Hillsborough with their wires crossed. The ball hits the floor. Brookwood takes a 5-2 lead. And Deanna Wallace is back to serve again for the Falcons. Wallace's serve just a bit short. Hillsborough will gain a point. Trail 3-5, and Lexi Downing back to serve for the Tigers. Downing serves, clears the net, and an ace for Downing. With Alexis Downing an ace on the score sheet, pulls the Tigers within one, now trailing 4-5. Downing serve into the net. I thought that was going to clear, but didn't quite make it. Gives a point back to Brookwood. Checking in for Brookwood and serving. Well, these girls are shy with their numbers.
10.
Number 10 serving, Ruby Mullenkamp. She serves it deep to the back row. Can't be handled by Downing. It'll be a point for Brookwood, leading 7-4. Also checking into the front row is Callista Zimmerman for Brookwood. Mullenkamp serve back to the back row. Downing fields it into Liska, up and just makes it over. It must have been landed out of bounds. That's as close as it gets right there. But the referee, Mark Sullivan, right on top of that one. Point for Brookwood. Liska set it up for Jules Johnson. It couldn't be put over. And the score now 9-4 Brookwood. With Ruby Mullenkamp serve deep to the back row. Dug out by Downing. Again, dug out by Downing. Set up by Liska. Volleyed over by Johnson, and too hot to handle as Hillsborough will score a point. In the game, Carmen Erickson coming in for Teresa Primo. Serving for Hillsborough, Maddie Harretts, trailing 5-9. Harretts a serve over to the back row. Dug out. Set up by Kunitz and hit into the net by Zimmerman. It'll be a point for Hillsborough. The Hillsborough now trail 6-9. Harretts back to serve again for the Tigers. Harretts a serve to mid-court of the Brookwood. Kunitz sets it up. It's hit over this time. Hit over by Stalky, volleyed over. Dug out by Harretts, or rather Downing to Harretts, and Erickson can't get it over. Be a point for Brookwood. Brookwood leads 10-6 into the game, and serving for Brookwood is Caitlin Lee. Leaves serve for the Falcons, floats over. Jules Johnson back to Erickson to Harretts, volleys it over. Again, dug out by Downing, set up by Harretts, put over by Kiana Liska. And 4 hits on the Brookwood side is going to give Hillsborough a point. Entering the game is Josie Wells for Kiana Liska. She'll report to the front row as Caitlin Stalky is going to serve for Hillsborough. Stalky serve, floats over the net. Returned by Brookwood. Returned by Harretts. Dug out by Stalky. Downing sets it up. Erickson puts it over. Returned. Stalky digs it out. Returned by Harretts. Erickson off the top of the net and back. Johnson couldn't track it down. Be a point for Brookwood. Into the game for Brookwood. Got a number on that one, Joe? I think it's Fernanda Garcia Barr serving for Brookwood, leading 11-7. Garcia Barr with a Erickson hits it over the far corner. Barr retrieved it. Kunitz volleys it over. It's dug out by Stalky. Volleyed over by Harretts. Kunis going to set it up again. A hard hit. Stalky saved it from going out. It'll end up a point for Brookwood, leading 12-7 as Garcia Barr is set to serve for the Falcons. Garcia Barr serve, dug out by Downing, set up by Harretts. Erickson's going to put it over. Kunitz got it over. Now they're going to say she carried it and give the point to Hillsborough. So Hillsborough's going to get the point. Gotta get the scores clock set. Hillsborough should have 8. They got them credited for 7. I think it's 8-12. So Johnson serves to the back row. It's going to be another point for Hillsborough. And they've got it at 8-13. I question. I think the scoreboard's wrong, but we'll go with it. Johnson to serve, trailing 8-13. Too much for Garcia Barr to handle as Johnson's going to get an ace. Be 9-13. Hillsborough trails. Jules Johnson serving for the Tigers. Johnson, powerful serve to the back row. It's returned. Stalky digs it out. Johnson and in the front row, no one's there to help her out. So it'll be 14-9. Brookwood leads. Serving for Brookwood. Catch a number there, Jill? In the front row is Emily O'Rourke for Brookwood. And Brookwood's service is at 19.
Do you have a 10 or?
I don't know. Brookwood, if you're listening, get some white numbers for your black jerseys. That red just doesn't show up.
19.
It was 19 doing the serving. That's Callista Zimmerman, and she's going to leave the game. And checking in for Zimmerman. Is that 22? 22. Emma Elder in the game for Brookwood. Liska serving for Hillsborough. Powerful serve to the back row. It's going to be returned. Dug out by Downing. Set up by Liska. Erickson with a hit and handcuffs Garcia Barr in the back row. Score a point for Hillsborough. Hillsborough now trails 11-15. With Liska ready to serve for the Tigers. Liska serve. And that's going to go up into the back, off the arms of Elder, into the stands. May as well call it an ace. And Liska brings Hillsborough within 3, trailing 12-15. Liska to serve. Liska over the net to the back row, fielded by Kunitz. Kunitz going to put it over, is dug out by Stalky, set up by Liska, hit by Harretts over the net. Popped across and in. A nice hit by Emily O'Rourke to score a point for Brookwood. Brookwood leads 16-12. And Emily Kunitz back to serve for the Falcons. Kunitz with the serve. Stalky digs it out. Downing, the Liska puts it over. Garcia Barr returns it. Maddie Harretts to Liska, back to Harretts. Garcia Barr. Downing's going to return it and get a kill. 13-16. Hillsborough pulls within 3 on the Downing kill. Carmen Erickson back to serve for the Tigers, trailing by 3. Erickson floats this one across. It's returned by Elder. Liska digs it out. Jules Johnson back to Erickson. Erickson gets it over. Now Kunitz going to get all the way back to the back row. And Hillsborough playing up front too much, not deep enough, off the hands of Erickson, out of bounds. Brookwood takes a 4-point lead. Checking into the game. And reporting to the front row, I believe, is Catherine McElhouse. Serving for Brookwood. So serving for Brookwood is Deanna Wallace, who's had a solid night thus far. Ball goes out of bounds. No change in the scoreboard again. Well, maybe they gave Hillsborough a point. And Hillsborough returns it right back, Downing a little bit short on the serve. Brookwood with an 18-14 lead. Checking in for Hillsborough. Teresa Primo for Carmen Erickson. In the game and serving, Ruby Mullenkamp, and reporting to the front row, Callista Zimmerman. So Ruby Mullenkamp to serve for the Falcons. Deep serve, dug out by Downing. Harritz, Stalky volleys it over. Dug out by Primo. Stalky volleys it back over. Dug out by Liska. And off Harritz into the net. Hillsborough having trouble, both 7th and 8th grade, playing that ball up close to the net. Mullenkamp to serve for Brookwood, leading by 5, 19-14. Mullenkamp serve over. It's going to be dug out by Harritz. And a lot of crossed wires tonight of where you're supposed to be, I guess. Hillsborough struggling a little bit, trailing now. Brookwood leading 20-14. Mullenkamp serve. Dug out by Harritz. Liska puts it over. A strong hit and out of bounds would be a Hillsborough point. Hillsborough back within 5. Maddie Harritz to serve for Hillsborough, trailing 15-20. Harritz serve makes it over. It's returned. Dug out by Downing. Set up by Liska. A last second volley by Stalky. Gets it over too hot to handle. Hillsborough pulls within 4. Trailing 16-20, and Harritz to serve for the Tigers. Harritz to serve, floats over. Fielded by Brookwood, and too close to the net for Kunitz as she taps it into the net. Be a point for Hillsborough, and Harritz now. The Tigers now trailing 17-20, and Harritz to serve for the Tigers. Harritz serve over the net, and that's going to be an ace for Harritz, as Deanna Wallace could not handle the serve up near the front row. 18-20, Tigers trail. Harritz serving again. Harritz serve into the middle of the court. Fielded by Wallace. Kunitz back to Wallace. Wallace volleys over. Dug out by Downing. Liska sets it up. Stalky puts it over. Mullenkamp to Zimmerman. Downing picks it up to Harritz. Liska hits it a little wide right. It'll be a point for the Falcons. As Caitlin Lee will serve for the Falcons. Into the game is Josie Wells for the Tigers. And Lee will be serving with the Falcons leading 21-18. Lee serve into the net. Be a Tiger point. Tigers within 2 now, trailing 19-21. Caitlin Stalky to serve for the Tigers. Checking into the game for Hillsborough is Carmen Erickson. She'll come in for Teresa Primo and be the setter in the front row. Stalky to serve. Stalky floats one across. Turned by Kunitz. Hit to the back row, and it's off of Downing and Stalky up onto the stage. Hillsborough now trails 19-22. Horace Fernanda Garcia Barr comes in for Brookwood to serve, leading 22-19. Garcia Barr with a serve. Fielded by Jules Johnson, over by Harritz. Brookwood volleys. Dug out by Stalky, set up by Downing, over by Erickson. That one's hit by Hillsborough. Got the 3 hits in, but not enough strength to get it over the net. It'll be a point for Brookwood as they lead now by 4. Garcia Barr serving for Brookwood, leading 23-19. Garcia Bars floats one off the top. Erickson sets it up, and it's over by Harritz. Brookwood volleys it over. Dug out by Stalky, and out of bounds, and Harritz can't track it down. Sets up a game point for Brookwood, leading 24-19. Garcia Bar serving game point for Brookwood. It's dug out by Johnson, turned over by Harritz. Volley over Stalky, and it's going to be a game point. And they give the ceremonial wave as Brookwood's going to win this one 25-19. And win the match 2-0. So Brookwood wins set number 1 25-9. Hillsborough much improved in the second set, still losing 25-19. And there's discussion as there might be a third game just for kicks, maybe not. I don't know. Nobody's returned to the locker room yet. They gave the ceremonial wave and said, "We're out of here." The referees appear to be taking the floor again as we may be playing a third game just because. Just because we have time. You got anything you want to add here, Joe? So officially Brookwood has won the contest 2-0. It appears we are going to have a game number 3. A sportsmanship classic, if you will.
How many robins have you seen, Bob?
I have seen a total of 3. I saw 2 on Monday, March 8th, and I saw 1 before the snowstorm yesterday. So I have seen a total of 3 robins. Many, many, many sandhill cranes, and they're all walking around in the snow today wondering what's going on. And according to our fine weatherman, that will all change on Thursday, as tomorrow he's going to give us a rainy day, the way it sounds. Rainy, sloppy, wet, yucky. But return to the 50s and near 60 plus degrees for the weekend. So
good sap burning weather.
Sugar snow yesterday. That's sugar snow for all the maple syrup people. Even those that are making maple molasses. So here's the game for fun, the game for pride. Hillsborough's going to serve first. Kiana Liska back to serve for the Tigers. I'm sure you all caught that on the video. I'm not going to say what happened.
You can't see them. I don't have it. It cuts her off.
Oh, they can see. You can see him, though. So Kiana Liska with a quick point. She has a strong serve to the back row. Dug out by Stalky. Harritz with the return. And Hillsborough can't handle it, get it over the net. It'll be 1-1 as Kunitz back to serve. Downing, Garcia Bar. Kunitz, Downing again digs it out. Set up by Liska. Harritz with the return. Way to the back row, and nobody can handle it after Garcia Bar dug it out. Hillsborough will take a 2-1 lead, and Carmen Erickson coming to serve for the Tigers. Erickson serve. Going to be returned. Erickson digs it out. Liska with a set. Stolke with a swing and a miss, and this game's evened at 2 apiece. And Deanna Wallace to serve for the Falcons, reporting to the front row. McElhouse. Wallace has served for Brookwood. Clears the net. Can't be dug out by Downey. It'll be an ace for Wallace, and Brookwood leads 3-2. Wallace to serve for the Falcons. Wallace across the net. Can't be dug out by Jules Johnson. It'll be another ace for Wallace. And Wallace leads. Not Wallace, but the Brookwood Falcons lead 4-2. Wallace is ready to serve. Wallace serving for the Falcons. Wallace's serve over. Dug out this time by Downing. Set by Liska. Hit by Harritz. And it's returned. Liska to Downing on the volley. Erickson digs it out. Liska with the set. Downing with the swing. And Brookwood returns it. Liska digs it out. Downing with the set. Stolke with the return. And they get it across. Stolke returns it again, and out of bounds be Brookwood ball. Well, we had some volleyball action that time. So much I forgot who's serving. Wallace with a serve for Brookwood, leading 5-2. Downing digs it out. Liska sets it. Downing, left-hand swing. Returned by Kunitz. Returned by Harritz for Hillsborough. Liska digs it out. Stolke returns it. And Brookwood's going to hit it out of bounds for the Hillsborough point. Hillsborough trailing 4-5. Oh, the scoreboard says 3-5. Downing serving for the Tigers. And into the net. So it'll be 3-6 or 6-3 lead for Brookwood. Checking into the game for Hillsborough, or rather for Brookwood, and serving is Ruby Mullenkamp. Reporting to the front row for Brookwood is Callista Zimmerman. Teresa Primo checking in for Alexis Downing, and reporting to the back row for Hillsborough. Mullenkamp serve for Brookwood. Dug out by Harritz. Underneath the net, be a point Brookwood. Brookwood leads 7-3. Ruby Mullenkamp with the serve. Mullenkamp high, floater to the back row. Erickson digs it out. Johnson tried to pass it, and it goes errant out of bounds. 8-3 Brookwood lead. Mullenkamp with the serve for Brookwood. Dug out by Harritz, passed by Liska, and volleyed over by Stolke. Primo digs it out. Erickson having trouble with it, hits it back to the stage. Can't be tracked down by Liska. It'd be a point. 9-3 lead for Brookwood. And checking into the game is Caitlin Lee to the front row for Rosemary Hegland. Mullenkamp serve, fielded by Primo. Liska can't handle the pass. That'll be a 10-3 lead for Brookwood. Mullenkamp serving for the Falcons. Mullenkamp serve deep to Erickson. Erickson digs it out. Liska sets it up. Jules Johnson with the hit. Too far right. Be a point Falcons. Falcons lead 11-3. Caitlin Lee in to serve now. Caitlin Lee for the Falcons. A left-handed serve by Lee, and she's going to get an ace. And it's 12-3 Falcons. Substitution is Josie Wells is going to come in for Jules Johnson. So Caitlin Lee serving for the Falcons, leading 12-3. Lee gets it just over the net. Fielded by Harritz. Now fielded by Erickson. Harritz going to volley it over. Kunitz sets it up. Full swing and out of bounds. So Hillsborough score a point. Hillsborough trails 4-12. And serving for Hillsboro, I believe it's Maddie Hertz, and it is. Fielded by Primo, passed by Hertz, volleyed over by Liska, and Brookwood sets up their return. And Kunitz is going to hit it 3 rows up into the stands for Hillsboro point. Hillsboro now trails 5-12. Maddie Hertz serving for the Tigers. Hertz serves it to the back row. It's returned. Hillsboro returned by Stalky. It's going to be dug out by Primo. And Hertz and Stalky got tangled together via Brookwood point. Brookwood leads 13-5. And checking into the game is Garcia Barr, and she's going to serve for the Falcons, leading 13-5. Garcia Bars to Erickson, digs it out. Liska passes to Hertz. Hertz volleys over. Brookwood setting up a return. And they catch Primo on the wrong side of the ball, score a point. Brookwood leads 14-5. Checking into the game, Alexis Downing for Teresa Primo. Downing will report to the back row. Garcia Barr serving for Brookwood, leading 14-5. And she'll serve it into the net, scores Hillsboro a point. So Hillsboro trailing 6-14. And it looks like Caitlin Stalky to serve for the Tigers. Stalky serve, clears the net, and it's going to be an ace for Stalky. It brings Hillsboro a point closer, trailing 7-14. Stalky again back to serve for the Tigers. Stalky with a good serve to the middle of the court. 2 aces in a row for Stalky. And Hillsboro now trails 8-14. Stalky to serve for the Tigers. Stalky, high floater to the back row. Brookwood sets up the return. Dug out by Downing to Stalky. And now Hertz, not quite enough to get it over. It'll be a point for Brookwood. And that'll be the game number 3, as Brookwood will take game 3, 15-8. So that'll be officially 3-0, as that's going to wrap it up tonight. Brookwood wins the first set 25-9, second set 25-19, and the third set 15-8. You got anything to add, Jill?
Thanks for joining us. Click subscribe if you haven't already. It's free. Just need an email. And it helps unlock several features for us in YouTube. Looks like we got some 5th quarter stuff going on. If you want to advertise or donate to the cause, to us, to the Booster Club, set up an ad. I don't care if you're a business, personal, a family, in honor of, in memory of, a youth group. We like all of you. If you'd like to donate, contact me. Money goes into the Booster Club's account to help fund when we get back to a little bit of normal. These teams will be asking for equipment and stuff. They haven't asked much this last year. I think they're just concentrating on getting games in. But all this equipment and volleyballs and clothing, and so our student athletes don't have to pay to play. So contact me, advertising spots. It's our only fundraiser this year. Maybe we'll get back to some norm next year. Questions about the Booster Club, give me a call, text me, email. Email's probably the best. Otherwise, I don't know when we'll be back here.
Our next broadcast, I believe, is March 22nd, which is next Monday, I think. I believe it is next Monday.
Volleyball.
Be girls junior high volleyball here in Hillsboro. I don't even know for sure who we're playing. But I believe next Monday evening we will be here in Hillsboro for junior high volleyball action.
All right. Thanks again for joining us. Maybe we'll have our act together a little bit better next week. And
You gonna sing a song for us, Jill?
I'm not.
A little Lawrence Welk action tonight.
Hopefully the snow will be melted.
No Lawrence Welk action tonight, Jill?
No Lawrence Welk.
All right.